Hey, what's up, everybody? Crispin Pally, GSM Outdoors. Thank you for joining us tonight. Um, Really always appreciate these opportunities to do these live functions and get to interact with a lot of you folks that I only get to interact with on social media. On behalf of everybody at GSM, thank you for joining in. We're really excited about where we're at going into 2024. 23 was a just a monster year for us. We started our journey a couple years ago with our initial acquisition of Gary Yamamoto, which is now just Yamamoto Baits. And man, we've uh, added, I don't know, 15, 18 new products to that line. Haven't discontinued anything since we've had it. Um, yeah, everything's still being built right there in Page, Arizona. We're super proud of that brand. Um, and thank you for supporting it. It's growing by leaps and bounds. It's had some big, record years over the past year or two, and that's because of you guys supporting us and the team we've got pouring their heart and soul into the brand. Then next we acquired Bill Lewis, uh, the rattle trap company, and just a foundational product, an iconic bait in the rattle trap, and we've done everything that we know to do at this point in time to bring Bill Lewis up to date with new products, the scope stick, and just so many other things that we've done. The all new hammer trap is just getting rave reviews. Um, we're really proud of that brand. We really feel like there's a real clear path to grow it, to modernize it, while also, just like kind of with Yamamoto, maintaining that tradition and heritage that kind of make it what it is. Um, then we acquired Buckeye Lures, which is one of my personal favorite all time brands. Um, and with that, we got some awesome, the spot remover, the suspend blade, the mop jig, just several products that we really believe in, and we did for 23 coming into 24. I think you're going to see a gigantic um, leap in that product line in terms of new products and things that are really going to add value to your arsenal. Then we've got Steel Shad, which has kind of been a sleeper. If you don't know about it, you really should. It is a fish catcher, and we've got some really cool stuff coming with Steel Shad. We introduced some stuff back at ICAST that we're excited to get in your hands. And then where did we go from Steel Shad? Big Bite 23 in 2023. We acquired Big Bite, which was a gigantic rocket shot for us. Yamamoto ultra premium. We're unapologetically premium with Yamamoto. Big Bite gives us a very high quality product at a really good value price. We're super excited about it, about the direction of it. Um, and then following Big Bite, we acquired Cuda tools, and something that I've used for years. They've always been in my boat, and it's funny. Everybody I talk to, every one of our pros, I'm like, "Hey guys, are you guys interested in working with us with Cuda?" And they're all like, "I've already got them." Went out to Idaho back in the fall, fished with Cody Meyer, and I'm like, "What? Hey, Cody, man, check out. We got these new CUDA tools," and he reaches in there, pulls out the same tool, right? So, we're really excited about CUDA. We've got some innovative things on the horizon there. And then our latest acquisition, I can't tell you how long we worked on this. We wanted to make sure we had the absolute perfect brand to enter the rod category, and Phoenix Rods was undoubtedly it. Just a phenomenal, uh, phenomenal product. Tons of innovation, years of history. The brand dates back to the 70s, which, according to my kids, is really old. But with that being said, just a really strong product offering from Phoenix that, honestly, if we didn't touch it, it's as good or better than anything out there. I call it nearly custom. So you know what you're getting. It's not just just a mass produced rod. Every one of them is built to exacting specifications. So that's the brands that currently are making up our portfolio. We're super excited about them. We feel like we're very strategic in the brands that we're adding. We're not just buying things. What I've learned in a couple of years, my like 20th year in the industry, 21st year, is that everything is for sale. No joke, it is. And what I want people to understand is we're not buying things just to buy things. We have a very, very strategic approach, a very solid vision, and a really strong team of people that are bought into this vision to ultimately produce incredible products for the fishing consumer, which we all are ourselves. So another thing I want to talk about real quick before I bring a couple people on, one, our pro staff. That's what we're really going to talk about tonight. But we couldn't have grown like we have in 2 years' time without an incredible team. Behind the scenes and out in front of the camera, traveling up and down the road, local events, national events, working shows. The product development input is unreal that we get from these guys. One of the things we really hang our hat on is using the knowledge and experience of our pro anglers to give us guidance about how to make things better or what to come out with next. So with that being said, our pro family is just that, their family. Anybody that we put the GSM stamp on, we wouldn't do it if we didn't believe in them 1,000%. So thank you. I see a bunch of them are logged on right now. They're all commenting, and man, it's a really awesome culture we have here. And we have a bunch of people behind the scenes. Wes Higgins came over from Bill Lewis. He's just instrumental to what we do every day. Brandon Ray came over from Big Bite. Once again, just a huge part of what we do. Jennifer Murphy, Tiffany Hogan, the guys over at F3 Media. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The people in the factory, Danny out at Page, Arizona, Scott in Eufaula at Big Bite. Like, it's just, we've got a super awesome group of people who are all just bought in, and it feels really good. It's a lot of fun to be part of. Let me bring one of my right hands onto this deal next. I want to introduce to you Jack Dice. Jack is what is your title now, Jack? What do we call you?
I don't really know. It's something to do with product development. You made it up. I'm pretty sure it's completely made up. But I help facilitate product development here at GSM. And really all that means for me is I get to pick the brains of some of the best fishermen in the world. And that's, again, why, the pro staff that we build here at GSM is so important. At least for me, selfishly, it's what I look forward to, is getting to talk to all these guys. So every year, the new guys we get to add, it's just a whole new group of anglers that I get to learn from. And hopefully take that and turn it into products that catch more fish.
Sure. I mean, obviously, a huge portion of bringing guys on the pro staff is expanding our knowledge base, expanding experience, which we draw from when we're designing product. And Jack himself, let me tell you, is a pretty dang good stick on his own. Jack last year fished the EQs, fished all the opens. Forgive me for not knowing. I'm really count on you for this stuff now. But how'd you end up last year, Jack? Your first year fishing all the opens.
I did all right. I finished 28th in the points, which, as a competitor, that's never where you want to be. But, when I got to read some of the names, really just that I got to compete against, some of the people that we're going to bring on tonight are some of the people I got to fish against. And just having that opportunity was a big deal for me. So finished 28th. I learned a ton. And obviously, I'm a competitor. I want to do better. But as a fisherman, it was an awesome experience to get to go all over and get to go fishing. So I'm never going to complain about that.
I'm proud of you. You came in the 20s and still got your job done. So keep up the good work, Jack. Let's try it another year, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed that I get to keep my job. So
no, brother, you're killing it. You're knocking it out of the park. I think anybody that has seen the products that we've come out with, you've played such a huge role in that. And I think everybody here would give you a pat on the back for the job you've done. you're at home now in Virginia, right? But in tomorrow? Are you getting on the road?
Yep. Some ungodly hour. I'm going to be. I don't know. Not enough sleep for me. You know me. It's my one problem with fishing is that I like to get up later than the most fishermen do. So it's going to hurt me getting up early. But I'm driving to Texas. We've got some cool stuff in the works for GSM. We've got we're doing some content shoots with some of the guys we're bringing on tonight, and some of the up and comers in the sport. I'm gonna get to work with them and pick their brains, in person about product, and also shoot some awesome content. But then we've got our rattle trap tournament on Sam Rayburn the 21st. If you guys are looking for an opportunity to come out fish, if you just use our products, you can have an opportunity to win some great prizes. So I'm going to be there working that event as well. And it's going to be, I was hoping it would be warmer. I'm in Virginia, and I've been iced in today, but I don't think it's actually going to be much warmer in Texas, but I'll be glad to be down there and be in fishing country.
Well, from what I understand, you're leaving Texas and then very soon thereafter heading somewhere where it should be warmer, right? The first Bass Open is about to kick off, and you're hooking up to your Skeeter and heading down there, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the personal part of my trip to Texas. I'll be swinging by Skeeter, picking that up, and then rigging it all up and turning around and headed to Florida for the first Open. So I think it's going to be warmer there. Hopefully we can use some of these products we've come up with down there.
I hope so too, brother. So while I've got Jack on here, let's introduce somebody else with the Phoenix acquisition. One of the more awesome parts of acquiring brands is adding to our family, bringing in experienced people who are really good, really passionate. And we did that with Phoenix, right? We brought on Vince Borges, and there he is, my man Vince, right on cue, like we've done this before.
Yeah, I just hit a button. No.
So Vince has been with Phoenix for 17 years in sales, marketing, a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
And Vince is going to be a huge addition, already has been, but will be going forward as we kind of forge our way into this rod category. He knows a ton more about it than the rest of us. So if you don't, act like you do. But where are you at today, Vince?
Well, right now I'm stuck in a hotel, getting ready for the Sacramento International Sportsman's Exposition show. So it's not quite as cold as where you guys are. I'm sitting here in 46-degree weather, but it is raining outside. So, it's better than snow. And
yeah,
ice.
This is that time of year. If you're in the fishing industry, you're a road warrior. I mean, it's show to show to show, event to event to event. And we don't get to hang out together except for on the phone or virtually very often.
Exactly.
Well, guys, we've got a pretty exciting night, I believe. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Most of this stuff has been in the works for a while. I believe that a lot of companies, I may overstep my bounds. I think a lot of companies do pro staff really right. I believe a lot of companies do pro staff really wrong. And, I feel like a lot of companies pay guys to simply just wear the logo, to endorse their brand. And one of the things I think we aspire to do is to really lean on our pros to be an integral part of product development, of testing, of input, and be great ambassadors for our brand. And for somebody to join our pro staff, they've kind of got to check several boxes. There again, I just kind of say it as it comes to my brain, but you can pay anybody. You really can. Everybody's for hire. They are. We're looking for guys that are bought in. We're looking for guys that we have a connection to. We value what they bring to the table. And tonight we're going to introduce a handful of those guys that we're bringing into the family for 24. So without further ado, let's take a look at. Let's start. We've got a little list of guys that we're going to run through, and I'm going to kind of introduce them. And Vince, if you've got some background, some history, something to add, jump in. Jack, I kind of joke that you're kind of my my play-by-play guy. I'll give the color and you've got the stats. So, or maybe I've got that backwards. But anyway, you're gonna bring the stats to the table. But we're gonna start. The first one on my list is Brad Watley. Brad fishes the BASS Elite Series. He's joined the Bill Lewis Pro staff for 24. And here's what I know: he's been on the elites for 6 years, qualified through the opens. He's a Texan, so guarantee you he's a trap slinger, a Bill Lewis dude. What can you tell me about Brad?
So Brad, he, as you mentioned, qualified through the opens, and he qualified in the 2018 year. He fished the Central Opens, and that year I believe they did 2 divisions of 4 tournaments. So it was a little bit longer, a little bit more diverse schedule, like than those years where they've had 3 in a division, and he finished second in the points. So that showed that's pretty dang consistent against that caliber of guys. And so he's kept that up on the Elite Series, year after year. He's qualified for 2 classics. And, when looking at his stats here, he's in the money about 2/3 of the time. So when he backs his boat in the water, 2 out of 3 times he's coming home with money for catching fish, which is about as good as anybody, I could say.
Yeah, that's consistency there.
Mm-hmm.
So Brad, welcome aboard, man. We got a whole bunch of guys on here. I see Laker Howell, Russ Lane, Becker, Swindle, Ty Al. I can't tell, man. That's what I'm talking about, family, man. All these guys have jumped on here, congratulating the guys for being part of the team. Rick Williams from over there in your part of the world, Jack, and shoot, man, just a bunch of Fletcher, Clark Green, Pete Pons. We got, man, it's kind of makes me proud at this moment, to be part of an organization like this. It makes me in this moment feel like I could take it for granted pretty easy, and I don't want to do that. There's Brandon Ray, Clark Winlet joining us. Speaking of Clark Winlet, what a perfect segue. Clark says Brad is a great angler. Well, this is a perfect segue for us to talk about Clark Winlet. Clark is a guy that I've had the honor of knowing for quite some time. I've worked with him in my past in the industry. Clark and I got to spend some time together, talk products. He's a guy that I know for his faith, which is very important to me personally. And as a matter of fact, we've got another connection. Clark was a team partner and if not a roommate to the guy that I would consider one of my greatest mentors, the late great Buck or Spike, Phil Marks, who I look up to and still use things every day that he taught me. So excited to have Clark. I mean, he's been fishing for a living for 31 years. You can't do that by accident. Clark's joining this year on the Bill Lewis Pro staff, on the Buckeye team, and the Big Bite. So we're really looking forward to what Clark is going to bring to our product development, and just what a great ambassador, just a class act. What you got, Jack? You've always got some cool little nugget of info. Tell me about Clark Winlet.
Well, there's a lot of little. There wouldn't even be little nuggets of info with Clark. He's been an icon in this sport. You say he's been at it for 31 years, but he's been winning for about that entire length of time. He won his first Angler of the Year title with FLW back in the day in '97, and then he won his 4th Angler of the Year title on the Bassmaster Elite Series in 2020. So to have that span of time between your first and your latest Angler of the Year titles, not just tournament wins, like being the best for a season, and that just speaks to volumes to his ability to, learn as an angler over the times as things change, and catch them everywhere you go. Having that kind of angler on your team to rely on, like for product insight, there's nothing that Clark hasn't seen over 31 years and done well over 31 years. He's 3-time Angler of the Year with FLW and 1 with Bass. That's 4. There's really hardly anyone in fishing that has that many. I mean, you're looking at David Dudley, Clark Winlet, Kevin Van Dam, and that's about it for Angler of the Years at that level and higher. So to have him join the GSM team, I was pretty stoked to see that.
Yeah, we all were. First one was in what year?
I believe in 1997, if I've got that correct. Maybe he can let us know in the comments if I've got that right. But
When were
that's
you born,
impressive.
Jack? What year were you born?
99,
Attaboy. Clark's been winning Angler of the Years since before you were around. And he's still winning them. That's the amazing thing, right?
It's crazy. And, he's won tournaments along the way. I remember back in the day, I'm up here in Virginia, and I remember it wasn't that long ago, he won an FLW tour event on the Potomac River. And so he's also won tour events, back in the day on Beaver Lake. So clear what bodies of water, shallow grass. It does, as the Angler of the Year titles attest, it doesn't matter with Clark Wendlandt. He's going to catch him.
That's right. That's exactly right. So Clark, welcome aboard. Glad to work with you again, dude. And we're excited about you being part of the family. Now let's go. Let's switch gears over to a new guy, a guy that is a Bass Pro Tour angler, and he is joining us this year for Bill Lewis, Buckeye, Big Bite, and Cuda. We have pretty much taken over all of the spots on his Jersey trucking boat, it looks like, but that would be Drew Gill. Drew is a young guy that's really been tearing it up. A guy that I've kind of had my eye on for some time. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about him. He's got a lot of youthful energy that we're looking at bringing to these brands. And Jack, tell me about Drew Gill, pal.
So it's funny. We go from Clark Wendlandt, who's been winning Angler of the Year since before I was born, to someone who's actually younger than me, and he's on the Bass Pro Tour and kicking absolute butt, and that's Drew Gill. I met him fishing the College Series. I remember we were at Winyah Bay, and it was stupid hot, and the fishing was terrible, and we were just complaining. He and I were just complaining about how terrible it was, but he went on to just catch him after that. It was actually that fall. He fished a Toyota Series championship and finished third. And I think that was really kind of the first time Drew got national attention for his angling skills. And he's really just carried that on since then. What's crazy about Drew, he's still in college. He is still in college. He's fishing his rookie year on the Bass Pro Tour after finishing second in Rookie of the Year standings to one of our own, Marshall Robinson, on the pro circuit last year. He's accrued a numerous top tens. I think looking back at his college stats with MLF, I was looking at him today, and in the years, 3 or 4 years that he's been doing it, I think he's had one finish where he wasn't higher than in the 30s in a tournament, a college tournament. And these are tournaments with hundreds of boats. So he's consistent everywhere he goes, and he catches them scoping better than about anyone out there. He's phenomenal at it. He's really embraced that technology, and he's someone that when I get the chance to talk to him, when we talk about product development, Drew knows his stuff backward and forward. He understands what baits do in the water at a level that I haven't experienced with talking. Just not everybody has that level of knowledge about what baits do when you do certain things to them. And he's been so helpful for product development. And I think you're going to see his fingerprints on some stuff coming out with GSM and Big Bite and other brands going forward.
Awesome. Welcome aboard, Drew. Look forward to you being part of the team and helping us bring some stuff to the marketplace that help people catch fish. All right, let's go back from a guy that's still a little wet behind the ears to a guy that's not quite as wet behind the ears. However, he is undoubtedly, I'll say this in front of the good Lord and everybody, this guy's one of my favorite people on the face of the earth, and that is Mark Davis. Everybody that knows me knows kind of where I spent most of my time in my career, over at Strike King. It's where I cut my teeth. It's where I grew up. Worked with Mark over there forever. I've got to spend a lot of time with Mark. He's one of those guys that talks slow, thinks fast. Incredible accolades. How many times has he won the Classic? 3?
He's a 3-time Angler of the Year, and he's a Classic champion.
That's it. 3-time AOY. He's won the Classic. I mean, the guy's an absolute legend. And we are stoked about having him come over here. Mark is coming on with Yamamoto, with Bill Lewis, with Buckeye, and with Phoenix Rod. So Vince, we're getting some Arkansas Bass Pro Tour veteran influence here, right?
You're getting true legends to join the brand. And yeah, Mark, I mean, I've been watching him since I was about as young as Jack, and just been dominating, so to see somebody that could still dominate in this day and age for that long a time. I mean, we've got a lot of great legends that are joining the GSM team and Phoenix, and Mark's definitely one of them.
Yeah, Mark is already hitting me up with, I've got this idea and I've got that idea, and I can't wait. Jack, you're going to have a ball. I saw Cliff Crochet make a comment, the best storyteller ever, and I endorse that 100%. That dude is absolutely could make a living as a stand-up comic, and he tells the best story you've ever heard. But he's got a lot of stuff that I think he's going to bring to us from an experience and wisdom and knowledge standpoint. And here's the thing, I promise you, he's not done. I know him too well. The dude is not done. Jack, anything cool statistically about Mark? I mean, I think we all know who he is, but anything that jumps out at you as a young guy talking about Mark Davis?
So as a young guy, Vince talked about that he's watched Mark, for forever. And Mark is someone I've looked up to just because the fact that he's still been able to catch him. He's qualified for 3 Red Crests in the last few years fishing the Bass Pro Tour, and he's qualified for 20 Classics. So no matter where he's been, he's consistently making the championship after all this time. I think it was right around when I really started getting into tournament fishing. He actually went on a really a crazy run. I think it was 2014. The first 4 or 5 events of the season, he never finished out of the top 5, which is just staggering. So like that level of consistency fishing in the top 10, I look at his stats now, he's got 65 top 10 finishes. That's just insane to me. That blows my mind. But he's done that, it's not like, oh, he did that. Oh, he, made all those top 10s back in the day and he hasn't done anything since. He's making them today. He's just as competitive now as ever. And so to have him on the team it's a big deal.
Yeah, no doubt. And once again, he's a huge culture fit for us. Just a wonderful guy. He's going to bring a lot to our family, and we're super excited to have Mark. Once again, we've continued this trend of veterans and newcomers. Let's go back to a newcomer. This guy is a guy that, if you've been a fan of fishing, I just hit a button and almost fell out of my chair. If you've been a fan of fishing for the last several years, you've heard his name, and we're betting that you're going to hear his name a lot more going forward, because we are excited about hitching our wagon to him. But for 2024, we are adding JT Tompkins to the team. He's going to be using Yamamoto, Bill Lewis, Steel Shad, and Cuda out during his rookie season on the Bassmaster Elite Series. JT has torn it up, youngest angler ever to win an Open and the youngest to ever compete in the Classic. And that's not like he just got hot. Like, he's never not been hot since I've ever heard of him. Jack, once again, I'm gonna defer. I'm old. I'm gonna defer to the young guy to talk about young guys. Tell me about JT.
So JT, I'm a bass head like the rest of us, and so I just keep up religiously with tournaments and standings. And so one of the places I love to follow, I've loved following the Opens over the last several years, the Opens and Toyota Series, like who's coming up next. The guys who are breaking through to get to that next level of fishing. And I remember, seeing this guy, this name, JT pop up, and as just a consistently high finisher. And I think 2 back-to-back years in the Opens, he finished 1 place out of the Elite Series. I'm like, man, this guy's clearly, he's been on it for years. He's going to make it. How old is he? He's 21 now. So he's been fishing Opens and, on the verge of making the Elites. since he was a teenager. And he's won too. So he's won a Toyota Series event on the Harris Chain of Lakes. And what was super cool about that was one of his first big national wins, was that he fished an open there, and he actually finish badly, finished near the bottom of the field. And he said, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get better. And he went out 2 weeks later, jumped in that Toyota Series and won it. And that's the thing that I've come to learn about JT, is he is an absolute bass warrior. He lives on the road, and he lives to get better at bass fishing. So he goes places and he spends his time. A lot of guys talk about, oh, I grind. It's kind of a cliche, like, oh, I put in the grind to go fishing. And it's like, well, dude, you're fishing. That's fun. But with JT, it's true, because he spends almost every single day on the water, and it's paid off. He won the points this year fishing the Open ZQ, and he didn't finish worse. His average finish over that time was 17th place in 9 events out of 200 plus boat fields. It's just, you can't really say enough about this young man. And I think he's going to catch him on the elites. I bet my money on it.
I saw a post. I'm looking now, and it was today. Nope, yesterday, where he put a picture up of his boat covered in sleet and ice, and he says, "Great birthday so far." So happy birthday, JT.
Yeah, maybe he's 22.
Maybe
he's old,
right? But to your point, he's out there in the sleet and ice grinding, right? Like, you're not out there because it's fun. When it's sleeting and ice and frigid temps, you're out there because you want to be, and you can tell by the results he's putting in his time, and he wants to be great, and he's taking some big steps towards that direction for sure. All right, let's go to our next new pro angler that we're adding to the GSM family, and this is a guy from my home state, a guy that represents the wonderful University of Tennessee, Go Vols. And he fished there, went to school there. He was a Tennessee Bass Nation Collegiate State Champion, 3-time Bassmaster Collegiate National Championship qualifier, and was one of the 9 2023 EQ qualifiers for the elites for 24, and that is Robert G. Robert's going to be representing Yamamoto, Bill Lewis, Buckeye, and Steel Shad on the Elite Series this year. Talk to me about Robert G, Jack.
So, again, like I said, I keep up with tournament fishing. So I'll be completely honest. Robert is one of those anglers that surprised me. Like JT, he's been on my radar as someone like, he's going to make it. He's going to be an Elite Series angler. Robert is a sneaky guy. He kind of came out of nowhere. If you look at his history, at his stats, he doesn't have major college wins. He doesn't have a lot of, he hasn't won opens, but he's just been rock solid, consistent. He finished 4th in the Angler of the Year title on the EQs this year. So that really just speaks volumes to the level of college fisherman, that his only experience was fishing the collegiate series, and that he's just consistent. 3 national championship qualifications. You see that he's just caught his fish everywhere he's went, and he's built that experience, and he put it all together when it counted. And so I'm really intrigued by his game. I know from what little I know about him, I think he likes to deep crank, throw a big jig, but he's also willing to mix in a drop shot to do whatever he needs to do to get a bite. So it'll be fun to watch him on the elites this year. And it's cool to have somebody like that you don't, I think sometimes there's this idea that maybe it's like you either have it or you don't, but really in fishing, it is a sport. You can get better if you put in the effort. And Robert seems like someone who's just put in that effort, gotten better and better and better until it finally paid off in an Elite Series qualification last year. So I'm hoping he keeps that train rolling.
No doubt. And we're betting that he will. And he's from a part of the world where, man, traditionally there's a lot of good fishermen that come from over there in East Tennessee. And everybody that I talk to about Robert says the same thing. Like, he's a hammer. Like, dude can really catch them. Man, we're super, super excited about having Robert join our family. Let's go to another young guy, and we're going to get off of the elites, and we're going to get off of the Bass Pro Tour, and we're going to show a little love to the NPFL here for a minute. And listen, I'm telling you right now, just like you, Jack, I keep up with this stuff. I'm always reading tournament results and recaps, and you see who's who and who consistently is at the top. And the NPFL has some hammers. I know a lot of guys that fish it, and it's an exciting trail. And this next young man, I've actually known him before. I don't remember the first time I met Tim, but I've always just kind of thought, man, that kid's kind of got something about him. And I would tell you right now that this guy is like, I talked to somebody who fishes NPFL, and I told them, I said, yeah, I said, we're fixing to do a deal with Timothy Reams. So that's who we're going to next. And he's like, man, he's like the silent killer. He's like, man, just look at the NPFL tournament results year over year. He just wins. Like he is that dude that if you needed to bet on somebody to win a check, like Timmy Reams is that guy. And it doesn't matter where they go, he catches them. He's always been there. He's a Maryland guy. He gave me a little bio. He pursued a career as an RN because he wanted a job that allowed him time off to fish. So he's been dedicated as long as I've known him. And the guy has just, he's just, I don't have it in front of me. I'm betting on you, Jack, because that's what I do. But I'm betting you can give me a little statistical data to back up my excitement over Timmy Reams.
Yeah, the Tim, he's just been super consistent across wherever the NPFL has gone, and that showed in a 5th place finish in the Angler of the Year standings this last year. And I would argue that this last year of the NPFL was about as competitive as it's ever been. So for him to finish that high, again, it just shows consistency over multiple areas of the country, but also multiple times of year. I think that's the unique thing about the NPFL is that they have events in spring, in summer, and even in late fall. So to catch them all of those different places at all those different times shows a level of consistency that not every angler has. So like, congrats to Tim, and congrats to us for getting him, I guess.
That's right.
It's good to have him on our team.
Yeah, I was Jeff Hodges, Reams will 15-pound you to death. But if you can 15-pound them to death, you can get paid for a long time. So, man, Tim, welcome aboard. Super excited to be working with you. It's kind of a long time in the making, and we're jacked about it. He's gonna be a huge addition to our family. And then the last guy in this, and then we're gonna talk about a couple other additions across the board from existing guys. But the last guy that I want to bring up, and I hope I hadn't missed somebody. If you know me, it's entirely possible, and I hope you'll forgive me. But the last guy on the list that I have is down there from South Louisiana. I feel like I can understand him better than I can Cliff Crochet, so he's got that going for him. But for 2024, with Big Bite, Bill Lewis, and Cuda, we're welcoming Tyler Rivette to our team. Jack, tell us what we need to know about who's Tyler Rivette. What's Tyler Rivette done?
So Tyler's one of those, and again, one of those guys who's just if you follow him in fishing, you've seen that he's just over the last few years, he's just gotten better and better and better. And that culminated last year in a big way. He won the Bassmaster Elite event on Lake Okeechobee. And then, as the season opener, and I think sometimes Florida gets that rap where like, hey, if sometimes guys get lucky in Florida, but he showed that it was not luck. He went out the next event in top 10, and he was consistent the entire year, ended up in 9th place in Angler of the Year, qualified for his 3rd classic in a row. So, and he's a young dude. He's just getting started in this sport. And so to see that trend go up of, starting out missing classics, but then getting more consistent, it showed in a win last year. And I think it'll show in more wins in the years to come. Talking to him, from what I've heard about him, he's someone who's adapted his game. He being from South Louisiana, he loves to flip. He loves to put a big stick in his hand, but he's also really embraced what technology can do. We saw that in his win on Lake Okeechobee using forward-facing sonar, that he can punch with the best of them and he can stare at them on a screen. And so that's really turned him into a consistent angler that, we're super happy to have on our team.
No doubt. Yeah, we're ultra excited about Tyler joining the family and being synced up with him on designing some products, and it's going to be 24 is going to be fun, man. I'm like, I don't bet, like, it's just not who I am, but God, I could bet on like all of these guys, and what a cool feeling going into the year with the guys that already have been bringing the heat for GSM for the past couple years, and then adding these guys to the stable of just absolute studs. So next, we brought Vince here to be more than just a perfect beard and a pretty face. Vince, why don't you run us through the list of Phoenix pro staffers that are joining the GSM family? These guys are guys that have already existing Phoenix guys, but now they're GSM guys as well.
Yeah, there's several that have other products that they rep with GSM as well. But we have a family of guys, just like you were mentioning earlier. Some of these guys have been with us for 10, 12, 13 years or longer. And then we have some of the legends in the sport, and we have some of the new and up and comers. And Jack, like you mentioned, on some of them starting out in the collegiate level. Some of these guys we started at the college level and have worked our way through that series and into the professional rankings of the elites or the MLFs and Bass Pro Tours. But we have a bunch of guys. We have Billy McCagran Jr., Braxton Setzer, Clint Davis, Clifford Perch, Drew Benton, Evan Barnes, Jamie Horton, young guy Jordan Collum, Luke Clausen, another legend, Russ Lane. Some of these guys have just been doing it as long as some of these other ones we've been talking about, Shannon Abbott, and then Fred Myers, who jumps in on the saltwater side of things. He's a Redfish Tour pro who just won the last 2 championships, including the Bassmaster Redfish Cup, and he won them on back-to-back weeks. So he had a good way to finish off the year this year. But and then Tyler Lubat, who is fishing the Toyota Series and whatnot this year, and trying to, like Jack, go through that Bass Open rankings, and
Tyler can catch him. He's a good angler.
Tyler can catch him. Yeah, you can catch him. Yeah, that's a fact.
And there's so many of these guys that, like you said, I mean, we work with Clifford over at Big Bite. Evan Barnes is on just about every brand, if not every brand that we have at GSM. Man, Luke and I go back so far. The fact you called him a legend is I love him. I'm not doing it yet. I've got to keep a little animosity there between he and I. It makes it fun. Russ Lane is a kind of funny story. Is a guy that I've been around, never really known super well. And Russ has, I don't even know if Russ is watching or on. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. He's become one of my favorite guys to deal with. Like, Russ is a hardcore hunter and is really become involved on kind of the hunting side with GSM. And so, yeah, man, Russ is great. Shannon Abbott, he's another Tennessee guy. We've got man, it's exciting. I mean, it's like our family's expanded, and it's the right kind of people, right? Like you guys, we've talked about this strategically, foundationally. The same things applied at Phoenix that do at GSM. Like, they've got to fit our culture. They've got to have the right reputation. They've got to bring things to the table from product development. It's just, man, it's such a great fit. And then lastly, but I mean, I don't want to keep this too long. We're at about 45 minutes now, which is about 15 minutes longer than I saw this going. But that's just how it goes. But we've got a handful of guys that are current GSM guys that we've added to additional brands this year. And what that tells me is that they've grown their confidence with us. We believe in them. They believe in us. They're willing to bet on us. We're willing to bet on them. And we're really excited when we can take one of the guys we believe in and expand our footprint within their repertoire and have more people to draw knowledge from that we already value. So I'm going to run through this, and I'm going to go kind of fast, but these are guys that are with current GSM brands that we're adding to new brands. First off, Tucker Smith, Alabama college hotshot down there at Auburn, has moving over to Bill Lewis this year. Has been with Yamamoto already. Cody Stahl, currently with Big Bite, has picked up Bill Lewis and Buckeye. Jake Whitaker, currently with Big Bite, has picked up Bill Lewis. Cliff Crochet, been with Bill Lewis as long as I can remember, has come on board at Buckeye. We're going to have to let Cliff design some kind of jig or something with a good Cajun name. Fred Rumbanus. Fred's a dude that I've always just thought the dang world of. Been with Yamamoto for the last year or two. Fred is now going to be with Buckeye and with Phoenix Rods. So kind of a West Coast guy reuniting with another West Coast brand. Jake Maddox, who was a Big Bite guy, is picking up Buckeye. Jacob Porosnik, Big JP, is with every GSM brand that I can think of, almost every, I think, maybe not Bill Lewis, but Jacob's going to be using Phoenix Rods this year. Pretty excited to see Jacob's just one of those guys that catches them. Blake Smith, same thing. Blake had a really good year last year. Excited to have Blake on the Phoenix team. He's kind of one of our favorites, as is James Niggemeyer. Once again, Vince, we were talking about it earlier. James has a ton of Phoenix history, right, from way back in the day, and he's back with Phoenix again. Marshall Robinson also joining us with Phoenix Rods. Pete Pons, I saw Pete on here commenting earlier. Pete's one of my favorite people on earth, like the consummate Southern gentleman, ultimate bass fishing veteran. I love spending time with Pete. He sends me pictures of baits about every day. But Pete's going to be throwing Phoenix Rods this year. And lastly, this one's kind of special, kind of a cool feel-good story. John Murray is joining us with Phoenix Rods. We've got John on with Yamamoto, but John with Phoenix is kind of a full circle deal. John told me that Phoenix was the very first sponsor he ever had. And that dude, man, has been so influential on the sport. He's such a great face for, the Western bass fisherman who's taken his game nationwide. About the nicest guy you'll ever meet too. And so we're just excited to see John come full circle back with Phoenix. But man, I mean, there's just a lot going on. We've got some other exciting stuff coming down the pipe, new products, maybe a new acquisition or two. That'd be surprising, I guess, wouldn't it, at this point? But man, I'm ready to get 24 kicked off. I say get it kicked off. We've already kicked it off. We've already been working shows. We're planning. We're going to be at Red Crest with a booth there. So if you're going to be there, come by and see us. If you're going to the Classic, man, we're really excited that we announced this, I think, last week. GSM is going to be the presenting sponsor of the Bassmaster Classic Expo. So we're going to have a strong presence there. A lot of our team's going to be there. But just some cool new products coming out. Should be hitting the store soon. A lot of stuff in the works. Just, man, what a fun time. Work's not always fun, but, man, it sure feels like it is right now. So I am man, I just feel incredibly blessed to be with this group of people at this stage in life doing what we're doing. It's just awesome. And we've got a lot of comments. I'm going to go back through them and the ones I can answer, I'm going to try to follow up and answer. I'm going to encourage Vince and Jack to do the same. But guys, thank y'all for joining us. Stay tuned. Lots of fun stuff coming. Look, I can't emphasize this enough. If you don't know us, I'm going to tell you this. If you do know us, I think you would endorse this. Man, the GSM team is we're just avid anglers. I talked about Jack fishing the EQs. I mean, Vince is a long-time tournament angler, guide. I got my start in the industry coming out of the tournament world. Wes Higgins is an awesome fisherman. Brandon Ray's an awesome fisherman. We're all avid anglers. I feel like sometimes we get this undeserved rap that like, oh, it's big time corporate America, conglomeration. There may be a couple controversial videos out there about that, but let me tell you straight from the horse's mouth, man, look, I go fishing when I have free time. I talk to Vince, hey man, what are you doing? Getting my stuff ready to go. We're going fishing tomorrow. Jack, if he ever answers his phone, you hear wind in the background, even when he probably shouldn't be. Brandon, I feel like Brandon's probably fishing right now. He loves the night fish. Wes is, every time I talk to him, he's got a new fishing story. This is who we are. We're you, right? And I think that's what makes us all special. Oh, there's McClellan. He's jumped in the chat. Like, dude, we just got some dang hammers on here, and it's fun. So I seem excited because I am excited, and it's not a show. Okay, JT, I do go duck hunting, but when I'm not duck hunting, I'm fishing. So, Delaney Dwyer, one of our West Coast guys, man, it's just a really fun time. I feel like sometimes that it sounds a little cliche about talking about our team and our family, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart, man. This is a really, really maybe the best time in my career, and what an awesome statement to make. So, thanks, Vince. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate y'all jumping on. Vince, I'm sure you can go find some junky hotel food to eat for dinner now. And
I got 10 guys sitting here staring down my neck, probably wanting dinner here soon. So,
well, take them to eat something good. Yeah, take care of those boys. I know they're helping you at the show, and we appreciate everything you're doing out there. Jack, I know you're probably going to get up and go, oh, you're driving tomorrow. You don't get to go fishing tomorrow. But hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Man, let us hear from you. If you've got ideas, suggestions, this is who we are. It's what we do. We want to hear from you. And just thank you all for being part of this awesome journey we're on, and couldn't do it without you. So love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you. Take care.